Hi, a student of mine just asked me about guide tone lines, and I thought I'd show a brief demonstration over a simple 12-bar blues in B flat. Basically, just hit chord tones of each chord. I'll show a lead sheet up there with the note I'm playing. And it's a B flat blues. First note we hit is the fifth, very simply, the F. There, you could start on any note. Really doesn't matter. I started with a simple chord tone and tried to keep mostly, you know, basic chord tones. If you limit yourself to roots, thirds, fifths, and sevenths, then you might have to leap to find the nearest chord tone. I'd like things to be stepwise, half steps, whole steps, or stay on the same note. And I'm going to descend from this note. So B flat, here's the fifth. The second measure is an E flat 7, and we'll play the root. It's a chord a note that I usually avoid, but because I'm going a direction, I'll play that note to keep the direction going. So the third measure is a B flat 7 again. Go down a half step to a D. And then the next measure is the same chord, and I go down a whole step to a C, which is the ninth of B flat. So that's a little hipper note, but not altered yet. I don't want to get too fancy, but we can talk about that. Simpler or a more complicated variation of this is possible. Get to the E flat chord. Another whole step down is the B flat, the fifth of E flat 7, and then the sixth measure of the blues we're going to use an E diminished, a sharp 4 diminished chord, and I'm going to stay on the same note, which is in that chord, as the flat 5. And then it goes to B flat 7 again, and I'm going to play the A flat, which I can do here, all on the same string for you so you can see it visually. Another whole step down, that's the 7th of B flat 7. And then the G7, I played the root again. That's the 5 of 2 G7 chord in a jazz blues progression, different from a traditional blues progression. Stay on that note again for the C minor, and then one fancy note. The G flat is the flat 9 of F7, the 5 chord in the B flat blues. And then the fifth, B flat 7, right where I started. And on that, if we do a turnaround, go to the F7, I can go down another whole step, got to go to a different string on this instrument. And that's the 7th of F7. So, how can you see chord tones better or know chord tones better? Certainly the advantage of this instrument is if you can play chords, you can you need to know what note each is in the chord. You need to know the function of every note in the chord, and if you play a lot of chord melodies, you have to put a melody note on top, and you need to know the function of that note. So I know that this note was the fifth, and I know a voicing that puts the fifth on top. This B flat 7 or B flat 9 voicing will put the fifth on top nicely. This, here's B flat 7, right? Here's a little hipper B flat 9 voicing. E flat 7 in the second measure puts the E flat on top. We'll make it an E flat 13, but with the same note on top. No root. We'll let a bass player take care of that. Then B flat 7. That's a boring voicing, but it works. And then B flat 9. I'm going to put the 13 in there also. Puts the C on top. We're to the fifth measure. E flat 9 puts the fifth on top. We're to the sixth measure. E diminished puts the B flat on top. We're to the seventh measure, and it's a B flat 7. I'm going to go with this inversion of a B flat 7 that puts the seventh on top. G7, I'm going to go with a typical G7 common voicing for dominant chords that puts the root on top. Stay on that note for C minor 7, traditional C minor voicing. And finally our flat 9 on F7. See the picture there. And B flat 7, traditional voicing for jazzers, preferred to the bar chord. And then for the flat 7, we can get a little fancy here. Put a sharp 5 in my chord with a flat 7 on top.